Sonic and friends finished their last race in the Babylon Gardens. The reward, as anticlimactic as it was, sparked a fierce rivalry between the Hawk and the Hedgehog. The mutual respect, yet drive to one-up each other, was as strong as ever. However, the two teams had to part, but they both raced off into the sunset as they said their goodbyes.
You may be fastest for now, but I'll be back, Sonic the Hedgehog.
However, fate isn't always set in stone, as the adventures between the two teams would cross paths soon enough. This is What If Sonic Raced in Cyberspace. Before I begin, make sure to like and subscribe, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you stay notified about when I upload next. Over 99% of you who are watching are not subscribed, so please make sure you hit subscribe if you enjoy more content like this. Now let's get back to the video. The Doctor sits back in his comfy egg-shaped chair. His defeat by the hands of Sonic and his friends several months ago angered him to no extent yet again. Majorly disappointed about his time wasted for an old boring rug, Eggman decides to sulk for a while and come up with a new plan to defeat Sonic again once and for all. However, his sulking had to wait, because one of his robots had some interesting news. Eggman's forced to detect a massive energy wave coming from far off in the middle of nowhere. Curious, the Doctor set off to go find the source of the energy. Back to the main group, Sonic and friends were having a fun race with each other to strengthen their skills. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles zoom past the track, the wind blowing through their fur, pushing their boards as well as themselves to the limit. With a boost down the track, Sonic quickly takes the lead. However, Knuckles has something else planned. He sticks his hand out to the side and grabs a tree as he zooms past it, ripping it out of the ground, proceeding to throw it at the blue hedgehog. Sonic moves swiftly out of the way, barely missing him and Tails. Of course, Karma quickly catches up to him as the tree proceeds to smack right into another tree, causing a giant domino effect, causing Knuckles' path to be obscured. With that, Sonic wins the race as Tails comes quickly behind him. Karma's a what? Whatever. Meanwhile, the Babylon Rogues try to find out what the heck to do with their new carpet. Ah, man, the Doctor was right. This is just some old carpet. What are we gonna do with it? Storm suggests that they sell it, to which Wave tells him sarcastically that even though it's an ancient artifact, that they should sell it, thinking he would get the hint. However, Storm doubles down, thinking she meant it literally. Of course, then Wave facepalms, as he clearly was too dumb enough to understand her sarcasm. Then all of a sudden, the magic carpet starts flying around her airship, crashing into things and freaking them out. Ah! What the? Get the darn rug, you idiots! The team chases the centuries-old carpet through the halls of their airship, as it clearly didn't have any regard for their stuff. It's like this thing has a mind of its own or something. Yeah, that's why it's called a magic carpet, you bird brain! Jet says he smacks Storm over the noggin. They finally corner the carpet near a closet, as they all jump for the carpet at once. However, they just manage to crash right into the closet as a bunch of different jackets and the like fall on their head. Did we get it? Jet reaches around for the carpet, and he can't find it anywhere. Ah, nope. Well, that blows. Hey, there it is! The carpet, sure enough, was right in front of them, making some sort of gesture that seemed almost mocking, and obviously a gesture I cannot show on YouTube. God, I hate that carpet. Back to Eggman, we see him finally landing on a very mysterious island, filled with ancient ruins and odd constructs, nothing like he's seen before. He finds that these ancient constructs seem to be emitting an intense frequency and is interested in finding out more. Though, as he touches the giant chair-shaped construct, he, as well as some of his badmates, get sucked into a mysterious void. Eggman wakes up to see a very familiar sight. He sees roads that seem to stretch an infinite distance, all twisting and turning in many different directions, going up and down, very akin to roller coaster tracks. Though he realizes quickly why this is all familiar to him. He notices familiar street signs and layouts very similar to places he's been before. Though, right as he's about to finish his thought, some very familiar robots start attacking him. Gun robots! What are they doing here? His badniks do their best to protect him, fighting off the swarms of gun artillery while he makes a run for it. As he scurries off, the Doctor has a brilliant plan. He scans the area to find out why it was causing a giant energy signature. He figures that he may be able to use this to his advantage. It wasn't long, however, that our heroes would get the same reading too. As Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles set up to do another race, Tails gets a massive energy reading from his communicator. Sonic feels a little on edge about this considering the last few times it happened. He wonders if it's coming from Eggman, to which Tails thinks otherwise. He says that the energy signature is from a place far off in the middle of the ocean called the Starfall Islands. Sonic, of course, wants to check it out as quickly as possible, but right as they were about to hop into the tornado, Amy comes out of nowhere and suggests that this is the perfect time to go sightseeing with Sonic. Turns out she was following the team the whole time. Reluctantly, Sonic invites her onto the plane, and the four of them set off to the Starfall Islands. The Babylon Rogues also get the same energy signature, curious as to what treasure this island may hold. They debate on what they may find, and if they'll find anything cool to sell for a quick buck. And guess who came up with that brilliant idea? On the way, Team Sonic discusses on what they'll find as well. Knuckles says that he wants to find some valuable jewels for Rouge as a present, to the surprise of the rest of the team. Shut up! She's just a friend! As both teams make their way closer to the island, they feel an odd presence, like something is watching them from afar. Very far away. Then, out of nowhere, the two teams felt a massive surge of energy shake all of them to the core. What? The next thing they know, they're whisking a kaleidoscope-like drift, transporting them to a mysterious world. Sonic comes to, his head banging, thoughts racing through his mind. Where am I? Where's everyone else? What's going on? He looks out towards the horizon, seeing hills and odd floating paths stretching far as the eye could see. Sonic's confused by this. He doesn't remember going to South Island. No, wait, this isn't South Island. It seems to be a cheap imitation. He runs around trying to make sense of his surroundings. These paths. Why do these layouts feel so familiar? He then runs into his board, lodged into a rock. He takes his board and rides off to find a way to get out of this odd place. He then spots someone familiar while zooming by. Jet? He gets off his board and goes over to Jet, trying to shake him awake. He then wakes and looks around confused. Sonic tells him that they've been sent to some weird recreation of a location he's been to before, and layouts that he's seen in the past. Well, I definitely haven't seen this place before, but I'll agree this place does look strange. They both hopped on Sonic's board to go look for Jets, and to also find a way to get out of this place. The others also come to in similar ways. Tails and Wave both wake up in a weird factory or plant of some kind, deducing that they may be in some kind of Matrix-like world, for the lack of a better term. Knuckles and Storm aren't so lucky when they come to, because they realize who they've been trapped here with. Oh god, not you! I'm not a big fan of your ugly mug either, pal. No, not you. Her. Sonic and Jet find Jet's board. However, it's guarded by a giant crab meat with a mustache. Green Hill Nostalgia, giant robot crab. Why am I not wait, is that a mustache? Sonic then prepares for a fight, which Jet asks to fight him since it's his board. As Sonic's about to let him fight, the crab meat shoots a giant laser out of his claw, almost roasting Jet like a turkey. Jet, terrified, walks behind Sonic to let him fight instead. You can fight him, man! Sonic, of course, turns this robot crab into crab meat and saves Jet and his board. Meanwhile, Knuckles and Storm both argue that this is one of their faults and that they must have crashed into one of them, sending it to some random island or something. Well, this is no island I've ever seen. Plus, there's sand everywhere, especially in my shoes. Ugh. Then the most terrifying thing they've seen all day comes to. Amy wakes up and looks around, wondering where Sonic is. She thinks this is both of their faults for stranding them in some random desert. Because of you two dolts, I can't go sightseeing with my darling Sonic! Amy then chases both Knuckles and Storm as they both make a break for it like their lives both depend on it, which they do. Back to Tails and Wave, they both walk around trying to make of the situation. Tails takes out his communicator trying to scan the area. However, they both discover that it's busted. Tails sighs in defeat as this is the only thing that could help them. Wave then remembers that there may be some of her tools in this world since she brought them with her for board repairs. The two of them look around for a bit, while also taking in the sights. To their surprise, they find her tool bag laying on the ground, so they pick it up and start to work on the communicator. I think this is the start of a beautiful friendship. Once the two of them fix the communicator, Tails scans the area, finding that the energy around them gives off some strange reading, similar to the one before, but also a bit different as well. They then notice a weird portal-like rift appear in front of them. But right as they're about to go through, a strange voice rings through their heads. Follow the path, heed my words, only then will you be set free. Confused and given the biggest migraines ever, they both walk through the portal to see where it leads. They both exit the portal as they find this beautiful island with luscious greenery, ancient ruins of some forgotten civilization, and Eggman? Tails and Wave arrive back in the real world, shocked at the fact that it hasn't even been 2 minutes and they stumble into Eggman. Why the heck are you here, Eggman? Eggman responds by telling him that he got a strange reading from this island and that he wants to know more about it. Tails doesn't believe him for a second though. He's not going to let him trick him again. However, that wasn't important, as not only do they need to save their friends, they need to figure out how to get back home. Eggman suggests that they find the source of the energy first, as it's possibly the only way to solve their problems. Tails reluctantly agrees, and they both discuss a plan on how they should do this. Wave suggests they should split up to cover more ground. Knowing at least some of the island's layout would be pretty useful, as they could destroy 2 badniks with 1 stone that way. However, Tails doesn't want to just leave the doctor by himself, so he revises the plan to have Wave go observe the layout of the island, with Eggpon beside her just in case, while Tails keeps an eye on Eggman as they scout for the source of the energy. Before I continue their adventure, let me explain the Starfall Islands for a moment. The Starfall Islands are split into 5 different groups: Kronos, Ares, Chaos, Rhea, and Aranos Island. Each island is very diverse and full of different environments and chock full of things to explore. Now let's get back to the story. Tails and Eggman scout the area, using their scanners to look around for weird energy readings. However, they're not having much luck. With both of them at a standstill, they decide to look around without the scanners, trying to look for anything interesting. With all these old ruins everywhere, there has to be at least some secrets, right? Tails tells him to put a pin in it, as he's seen something very interesting. He spots this weird orb-looking cage thing with what appeared to be fog inside of it. Upon closer inspection, he was shocked at what he saw. As him and Eggman inspect closer, it appears to be a live broadcast in a sense of Sonic and Jet going high speed, with concerned yet determined expressions on their faces. Though, as they hope for more feed, the cage explodes in their faces, sending them flying back. As they get up off the ground, they notice purple smoke escaping the charred remains of the cage. Strange. I've never seen purple smoke before. Interesting. Either way, they must keep going, as there was at stake here. Wave and Eggpon, meanwhile, discover the many ruins and lore the island has to offer. Beautiful yet melancholy architecture, as these ruins once were filled with life, now just gone into nothingness. They stumble upon this big throne-looking statue. They feel off about it, however, it may have more to it than they thought. Eggpon directs Wave away from it, like they're trying to protect her from something. They continue their exploration, as they find a Chaos Emerald trapped in some sort of odd cage built out of strange technology.
Chaos Emerald detected. Preparing extraction process.
Wave looks at Eggpon as they walk up to the Chaos Emerald, reaching out for it. However, they get ambushed by weird-looking robots, nothing like they've seen before. Eggpon tells Wave to grab the emerald and run, as they fend off the weird and dangerous robots. Wave's unsuccessful, however, as she doesn't know how to open the cage and grab the emerald. She tries everything she can, until she sees an odd glow radiating from her hands as the cage opens. Realizing there's no time for amazement, she grabs the emerald and runs off, leaving Eggpon to defend against the sinister robots. As Wave runs away, she feels a sudden shake in the ground, as well as a loud roar coming from the opposite end of the island. She tries to contact Tails and Eggman, but unsuccessful. The island can't be that big, right? So she goes to look for the boys herself, as she tries to protect the emerald with her life. Tails and Eggman explore the ruins, discovering that they must be connected somehow to the Matrix world that just escaped from earlier. They also run into strange but adorable creatures Tails names Coco. He doesn't know why he knows what they're called. It just feels right to call them that. I can't explain it, but I feel like these Coco are more connected to this island than we thought. All of a sudden, they feel a loud shake, followed by a loud roar coming from somewhere on the island, as the Coco ran off, scared as to what it is. Eggman gets a distress signal from Eggpod, as they quickly rush over to the last coordinates. They run into Wave, holding a Chaos Emerald. A Chaos Emerald? Where'd you find that? Wave explains the situation, but as she finishes, Eggman realizes that the rest of the emeralds must be on this island as well. He tasks for everyone to split up, as they must find the rest of the emeralds. This will be the key to saving everyone. Sonic defeats the giant mustachioed crab that Sonic aptly names Dr. Crabulous, and saves Jet's board. With his ego crushed, Jet decided to race off through cyberspace with Sonic in tow. They zoom by the various greenery and enemies the world has to offer, when all of a sudden, a rift appears right in front of them. With no time to stop, Sonic and Jet are sucked right through the cyberspace portal. As they zoom out of the portal, they take their time to slow down and process what just happened. Whoa! Talk about whiplash! They look around as it appears they've been transported back to Metal City, but just like the rest of this digitized world, it's a fake. With both of them reasonably upset, they both try to make the most of it and continue looking for a way back to the real world. They walk around the city, surprised that this imitation is so lifelike, with tons of stores, restaurants, even cars flying around. Anyways, the two decide to stop the tour and actually race in cyberspace for once. The two of them get their boards ready, as Omochao spawns in from nowhere to start the race. Wait, where did this chump come from?
Ladies and gentlemen, the World Grand Prix is finally set to begin. Once again, we've got every speed freak, gearhead, powerhouse, and ace racer from all over the world here to compete. And bringing it all to you live, I'm Omochao, your eyes in the sky.
Jet gets cut off by the starting lights as Omochao counts down.
Ready? You'll see? Go!
Both
True
Sonic
power.
and Jet kick off as hard as they can and do a huge boost down the track. As they boost down the track, they avoid obstacles, going through loops, going as fast as they can while also trying to one-up each other. As they continue to racing down the track, the road starts to warp and deform around them, with twists, turns, and drops to sudden demise everywhere, with enemies popping up left and right, firing at them. The both of them try to stay on their toes to not get in any danger, until a giant cloud of purple smoke engulfs them. While they power through the cloud, they hear a strange and ominous voice that sends chills down their spines. You are the key to more things than you realize. The cloud then dissipates as they near the finish line. With the two of them shaken up and confused by this, they keep going down the track, with even Jet almost falling off it. As they cross the finish line, Sonic wins the race, with Jet coming in a split second. No, why is luck never on my side? With both of them finished, they see a portal open up, as it quickly disperses right after. Then, surprisingly, the world warps around them, much like a kaleidoscope, flinging Sonic and Jet in two separate directions. Oh no, here we go again! Sonic opens his eyes, surprised to see that he still has his board and that he's in one piece. He looks around and notices that he's escaped cyberspace and ends up on a strange island, covered in rocks, snow, and a giant volcano just waiting to be explored. He's amazed by this, as he puts his board away and runs off to explore the strange island. As he explores the ancient ruins, grinds the ancient rails, defeats odd robots, his body starts to feel strange. The uneasiness turns into pain, then agony, as he realizes he's been corrupted by some odd black and red energy. Jet, meanwhile, ends up on Kronos Island. He looks around, confused, but has the same amazement as Sonic had on his face. He too puts his board away and walks around, trying to see if anyone is there with him. He then notices something feels off. He looks at his hands and realizes that he's semi-translucent, with a subtle blue glow. He shrugs it off and continues forward. He then bumps into a robot that looks very similar to one of Eggman's robots. It seems distressed while also seeming content somehow. The robot, sputtering and smoking, tells Jet its last words.
The end begins. You must save the future.
The egg pond shuts down as his eyes turn from a bright blue to a deep dark black. Jet mourns this loss, as he can tell it was some sort of noble sacrifice. Right as he's about to get up though, Egg Pond's chest cavity opens up, revealing a USB with Eggman's logo on it, labeled Sage. Jet shrugs as he takes the USB and puts it away. He then sees a twinkle of a bright light flash above the sky, then another, and another. It appears to be some sort of meteor shower, with tons of rainbow-colored lights blanketing the sky, with some Coco running around with glee and excitement. Huh, so that's why they call it the Starfall Islands. He goes back to searching for potential signs, if anyone, as he admires the beauty of the night sky, as well as the beauty of life. Knuckles and Storm run as fast as they can, being chased by what seems to be a dangerous beast, as the hot, coarse sand fills their shoes. Storm runs into a cactus, while Knuckles laughs, to which Karma catches up to him again, and he falls over. With Knuckles terrified, his life flashing before his eyes, he sees the ominous figure loom over him with a snarl. The beast reveals itself to be none other than Amy, upset at Knuckles and Storm for getting her in this mess. You'll pay for your actions, Knuckles! As Knuckles braces himself for a finishing blow, Amy kicks sand into his face. With Knuckles relieved, she backs off him and pulls him to his feet. That's what you get for stranding us here. Storm walks over to the two of them, picking off thorns from the cactus.
So, what's the plan on getting out of here?
Knuckles takes charge and tells everyone that they need to find any form of civilization. Knuckles taking charge? Yeah, like that's gonna end well. Either way, the three of them trek through the desert, confused why the sky looks so strange and why the desert is filled with strange creatures that they've never seen before. They end up at a coliseum that they recognized. Upon further inspection, it's the exact same coliseum that Jet and Sonic raced at. They walk into the coliseum as they think this is their ticket home. However, the world changes all around them into some sort of arena. Knuckles wonders where all of the racing stuff was at and how the world changed around them. They feel a shaking beneath their feet as a giant sandworm appears right in front of them as it lets out a loud roar. Knuckles and Storm go to a fighting stance. However, right as they were about to fight, Amy jumps up to his head and smacks it over the noggin as hard as she can with her hammer. The worm falls down and disperses into little pixels. However, the fight's not over, as an odd voice speaks to them. Prove your worth. Prove that you can survive. Then, a bunch of enemies spawn in front of them, with sinister undertones, and waiting for their next meal. They fight mummy after mummy, bashing their heads into the sand, pixels flying everywhere like a game of Fortnite. After the carnage ceased, the whole Colosseum disappears, showing an icy, snowy tundra with the cold rushing to their bodies. They look around and realize this isn't the real world, but in fact, some sort of digital world. As they trudge through the icy tundra landscape, they come across a river, completely frozen over. They decide to walk across it, trying not to slip on the ice. Midway through the walk, Storm slips and falls right into the ice. Amy comes to help him, but right as he gets up, the ice starts to crack all around them. Ha! What a fat— Whoa! Yet again, Karma's not on Knuckles' side, as he too falls on ice.
I gotta shut my trap.
They both get up, and the three of them bolt across the ice, barely falling into the icy cold water. They finally reach the other side, tired as all get out. They won't let that stop them, however, because they have to keep moving. As the three of them continue their adventure, they stumble into this pyramid completely made out of block of— What? As the three of them continue their adventure, they stumble into this pyramid completely made out of ice. They decide to take shelter for a bit and walk in. They find themselves in a giant empty area, with cages hanging from the ceiling. They walk through this corridor and end up in another world, as it looks to be exactly like Babylon Garden, except in ice and snow. They continue further into the gardens and find a very old-looking carpet, completely frozen in ice. Knuckles decides to break the carpet out of the ice, as it excitedly flies around Knuckles like it's thanking him for rescuing it.
Hey, cut that out!
The carpet then motions for the three of them to get on top of it, which Knuckles and Amy do just that. Storm, unfortunately, is too big to get on the carpet.
Hey!
The carpet takes off with Amy and Knuckles, as Storm follows it on his board. Through the snow and frost it goes, up and down and all around, different hills and snow and loops of ice. It finally ends up in a strange looking rift, as Amy and Knuckles get on it, to which Knuckles quickly runs to the portal, super excited to get out of this icy torture. The rest follow and end up right back where they started. But not just any desert, however. They end up on none other than Ares Island.
Oh, come on!
Jet makes his way around this new location, not knowing where he is, nor how he's going to get home. He finds his way past an ancient ruin, trying to figure out what happened to this place. He hears a rustling from some bushes near him. Scared for his life, he tries to hide, but it's too late. The rustling stops as he sees Wave walking out of the bush. Wave! Jet yells in excitement as he makes sure she's real and he's not just tweaking out. Wave excitedly catches up with him on what's been happening and asks him if he's seen an Eggman robot around somewhere. Unfortunately he has, but it's been completely totaled. He gives Wave the flash drive he found from the egg pond, and they go to meet up with the others. As he meets back up with the others and catches up, Eggman points out how Jet is all staticky and transparent. He tells him that after he left the digital world, he just appeared like that. Confused, the group decides to ignore it for now and live with the rest of the Chaos Emeralds. However, trouble soon comes their way, as they hear the loud roar of a mysterious monster somewhere on the island once again. They figure that they have to find the emeralds. Who knows what this thing could be capable of? They look high and low, run into some enemies, save some Coco, and eventually find the rest of the emeralds. Except for one. Eggman suggests that the last emerald could be near the monster, as he detects chaos energy in the direction from where the roar came from. So they all head off to hopefully get the last emerald. They make their way into a large circular stretch of land with a giant wall of mountains surrounding the borders. They're not alone, however, because the monster they've been looking for all along stands right in front of them, as if it was following them the whole time. It roars in their faces as they see the light of a Chaos Emerald radiating on its back. They volunteer Jet to go and grab it, to his horror. Me? Climb that thing? You all gotta be nuts! They insist. So he carries his butt over to the giant robot-like monster and climbs it. It's not so easy, because he almost gets turned into a fried bird by all the lasers around him. He eventually makes it up to the top and grabs the emerald, unlocking it from its cage with the cyber energy radiating from its body. Right as he grabs it, the emeralds fly towards him, flying all around him. With a flash of light, he uses the chaotic power of the emerald to unlock his hidden potential. He turns into none other than Super Jet, the surprise of everyone. The monster, now aptly named Giganto, I named him, smacks him away, as he fires a massive mouth beam at Jet, with him easily knocking it away. Jet delivers a flurry of punches, knocking the massive robot back. After a while, the robot unleashes a massive barrage of lasers at him, but he flies right past him and goes right through the giant robot, destroying it in an instant. As he lands back onto the ground, the emeralds fly off into the distance, over to the next island. With everyone in tow, they chase off after them to hopefully manage to find a way. The group make it to the next island, covered in sand, more ruins to explore, and of course, Team Knucklehead. As Team Babylon reunite and catch up, Eggman makes sure to catch everyone up on what's going on. Knuckles remarks on how they were just about to go emerald hunting, since he saw them fly past them a minute ago. As the group goes to find the emeralds, Knuckles remarks on how familiar the island feels to him, and how he feels as if a fierce battle happened here long ago, as they see the Coco with cute little military hats run around, as well as giant weapons and fortress walls buried in the sand. They eventually collect 6 out of the 7 emeralds, and make their way toward the next Titan. As it reveals itself from the clouds, a large wyvern-like creature flies around them and fires missiles straight at them. They all dodge though, and quickly volunteer Jet to take care of it. Of course.
Wait, I want to fight too!
Well, let's do it together, I guess. Jet and Knuckles encounter the flying beast with determination on their faces, as well as the desire to get this over with as soon as possible. They both run up the spire near it, as Knuckles jumps towards it. He's able to grab into the head of the creature, and grabs Chaos Emerald stored up on top. He's shaken off by the wyvern, and lands right next to Jet back on the spire. They get back up and get their bearings, and make a running start, and jump right off the spire. As the Chaos Emeralds float around the two of them, Jet is able to turn super once again, with Knuckles also gaining a super form for the first time. They both fly over to Wyvern as they tag team it, hitting it over and over with several super-powered energy blasts and melee attacks. Knuckles uses Burning Fist, now amped up 100-fold due to the Chaos energy, to deliver a devastating blow to Wyvern's face, knock it into a nearby mountain, destroying it in the process. As one last Hail Mary, the Wyvern shoots every missile at once in Jet's direction. He leads the missiles to the Wyvern as Knuckles forcefully opens its mouth, making it eat the barrage of missiles, blowing it up in the process. They land back on the ground and gather everyone, as they make their way once again to the next island, Chaos Island. Little did they know, however, that their day was about to get a whole lot worse. Pain corrupts absolutely, but if controlled, it can lead to great power. No, I can't give in. Everyone arrives on Chaos Island, an island as grim as the history surrounding it. A melancholy feeling rushes over them as they feel that there is something lying beneath the surface of all this depressing scenery. Man, this place is depressing. Probably more so than the Ark. Tails determines that, if logic dictates, Sonic must be here on this island. But right as he says that, he gets a massive energy reading on his scanner. So large, in fact, that his scanner blows up in the process. Good thing Eggman's didn't blow up. Look, if you've been in the business for as long as I have, you'd learn to make an indestructible scanner, just in case a blue buffoon or any of his imbecile friends want to break it. So Eggman leads the pack, and redirects them to the direction of the energy wave. Wave mentions that they need to also split up, in order to get the emeralds. Destroy two badniks with one emerald, as they say. Tails suggests that they should be split into these groups. Group 1, Amy and Wave. 2, Storm and Knuckles. And 3, Tails and Eggman. Just so we can keep an eye on them.
What about me? Oh, you'll be going by yourself. From what we've seen, you can hold your own pretty well in a fight. Maybe when I'm pushed to my limit. Hey, wait!
They all leave him behind and split up to search for the emeralds.
Great.
As the girls make their way around the massive island, they manage to collect 2 of the emeralds with relative ease. However, their luck was just about to get tested, as they see some Coco playing around the edge of a cliffside. As they play, one of the Coco accidentally trips and falls off the cliff. Quickly, Wave throws her emerald to Amy, pulls out her board, and jumps off the cliff to rescue the Coco. As they nearly plunge into the cold waters below, Wave manages to catch the little dude just in time and flies back to safety. The 2 brawny boneheads search for the emeralds, with it being somewhat easy due to Knuckles' latent emerald sensing abilities. The emerald hunting was only the easy part. As they continue their trek, they relate on how similar their teams both are. A cocky, fast leader, a brainiac who's second in command, and the big, strong knucklehead of the group with a short fuse and big muscles. Suddenly, out of nowhere, they get ambushed by a bunch of giant ninja-like robots with great speed and even greater strength. These robots were swift, cunning, and ever fierce. They get pummeled over and over again by the robots, with there being seemingly no way to ever touch them. Though Knuckles, in his oh-so-clever mind, comes up with an idea.
How do you fare with no ground to stand on, huh?
Knuckles uses all of his strength to summon a giant flaming punch, making a giant flaming crater in the ground, sending all the robots hurtling off the side of the cliff, and almost themselves as well.
Watch it! There's not much room to move freely around on this island, you know.
Eggman and Tails make their way towards the Chaos Island volcano, already collected 2 emeralds that they need. However, they only need 1 more, and they got them all. Of course, the last emerald was located near, or even inside the volcano. They look around, and can't see any entrance to the volcano, until they feel and see a massive red shockwave shake them to the core, and make them fall on their butts. All of a sudden, the ground shakes once more and collapses underneath them. The two geniuses wake up to find that they've ended up in a massive underground area with tons of ruins and a hallway leading further into the underground area. They explore this place, finding some cocoa and little mining hats and other amazing finds along the way. They make it through the dimly lit hallway with only the very few amount of ancient lanterns lighting the way, as well as a small bit of light from the glow of Eggman's communicator screen. At the end of the dimly lit hallway, they find this large contraption with a small control panel in front of it. Is that a pinball machine? Questionable taste of architecture aside, the two examine this control panel and find a way to turn it on. Could this lead to the inside of the volcano? Eggman deduces that it needs something to use as the ball in this contraption, as it requires it to start. Tails reluctantly offers to use himself as the ball, an offer which the doctor happily accepts. Oh, do you know how long I've been waiting for this? Whatever. Let's just get this game over with already. The doctor plays a fun game of pinball with Tails, while also messing around just to have a little payback and some fun himself. After he has his fun, he beats the game and activates the mechanism above. Tails smacks Eggman over the head as he comes back from the machine, and they both watch as the mechanism activates, though they feel another massive rumble and an intense heat radiating from above. Jet searches high and low for the emeralds, not being able to find any. Bummed, he goes and chills around the volcano to regroup with the others once they're done with their mission. Though, as he walks towards the volcano, the ground shakes violently, and the volcano erupts. A whole bunch of molten hot lava spews out of the giant ground pimple, as well as emitting some weird purple and red smoke. As the smoke clears, Jet sees a silhouette of a familiar friend poking through the thick smoke. Who's there? But as he walks up to see if it's really him, Jet gets smacked across the island into a nearby mountain. Jet wakes up, covered in rubble, his head pounding, and even worse, someone with a threatening aura floats in front of him. Aw, poor Jet. Did he hit his head? The group runs over to see what's happening, only for Eggman's scanner to go nuts. The energy feels so familiar. It couldn't be him, right? The mysterious figure shoots a giant energy blast out of his hand towards the group, nearly blowing them up. Now they have to get the last emerald. Jet's life could be at stake here. Luckily for them, however, the last emerald fired out of the volcano when interrupted. So now it's only a matter of time until they find it. Who are you? Why are you doing this? You know very well who I am, Jet. A prodigy of speed, the blue blur, Sonic the Hedgehog. The figure reveals himself to be none other than Sonic, who has fallen victim to the end's cyber corruption. Sonic wastes no time in enacting his plan, as he grabs him by the neck, punching him so hard he destroys some nearby architecture, nearly hitting some cocoa as well. As Jet takes the full power of Sonic's corrupted wrath, the group searches the volcano's base to find where the Chaos Emerald has landed. They manage to find it, almost sinking into the hot lava, and grab it quickly to deliver it to Jet. Jet takes a heck of a beating, several rapid punches to the face, getting slammed to the ground, while even taking energy blasts. He can't hold on much longer. As Sonic's about to finish the job, Eggman yells to Jet, flying above them in his Eggmobile, and throws him all the emeralds. However, Sonic seizes this opportunity to get in on the action as well. The two of them turn into their super forms, Jet turning a dark purple, and Sonic, with only his spikes, turning upward. You're just as pathetic as that Titan I fought earlier. As the battle continues, Jet can feel that Sonic is only getting stronger as he fights, and that he's slowly becoming less of a match for Sonic. The Chaos power slowly drains from Jet's body, as Sonic gives one last massive punch to Jet's face, knocking him out of his super form. Sonic floats above Jet's unconscious body as he charges a massive energy blast from his hand, wanting to completely vaporize him, and the entire island along with it. However, his power is too much for Sonic's body, as the energy spazzes out, causing him to go into shock and pass out. The group returns to see both fighters severely wounded, Jet especially. Suddenly, the group sees a flash of light, and a being, similar looking to Chaos, floats in front of them. The being reveals itself to be an ancient from thousands of years ago, one of many inhabitants of the Starfall Islands, long forgotten at the time. The ancient explains that the only way to save their friends is to go to the next island, Rhea Island, and climb the 6 towers, and that will not only save Jet, but free Sonic as well. The world returns to normal, as the ancient turns back into a little Coco and walks away. They're in the endgame now, and with the team back together, they're one step closer to saving the world. Sonic wakes up in an empty white void, fragments of his memory barely clinging to him. Ugh, what happened? Where am I? As he walked through the infinite void, he can barely remember what happened these past few days. His body sore, head pounding, but he doesn't know why. He sees a trail stopping at a cliffside, overlooking an ocean below, with some sort of shack nearby. Sonic walks over to the cliff's edge and sits down, his legs dangling over the massive edge of the cliffside. This feels similar to him. Has he been here before? Regardless, he sits alone, wanting to get some rest and trying to get his thoughts in gear. Meanwhile, his friends arrived in Rhea, with Jet still unconscious from his battle with Sonic. They investigate the giant towers set up all over this tiny island, as it's not nearly as big as the other islands. Wave, Storm, Knuckles, and Amy stay behind to take care of Jet and defend him against any robot threats that may lurk, as Tails and Eggman go to climb the towers together to save Sonic. Well, I say climb. What I really mean is that they grab Sonic and fly him to the top of the tower, because they can fly, obviously. Since Tails can fly with his, Tails, and Eggman his Eggmobile, they decide to cut out the middleman and they just hop on Eggman's Eggmobile, flying to the top of the tower, avoiding the entire challenge that is this tower. Though, they reach the top, and they get out of the Eggmobile, laying Sonic down in the middle of the platform. The tower lights up as a bright flash of light sends them into the strange flashback world again, this time with another ancient. The first ancient tells a tale as old as the ancients themselves. They tell the story about how long ago their homeworld was threatened by a sinister evil from beyond the stars, the 7 mystical gemstones being the only way to escape certain doom. As they go through the next few towers, the ancients tell them how they barely escaped with their lives, and how the emeralds were the only key to defeating this galactic menace. However, it didn't go so smoothly for them. As the years went by, the war with the colossal titan in the sky seemed to end in tragedy, as little by little, the ancients were picked off, weapons destroyed, tech abandoned, the end in sight. Literally. However, Sonic isn't waking up. Still alive, but in some sort of cyber coma. Like his mind has become cyberspace, and he's been trapped in it. All isn't lost though, because one final ancient shows up. The Master King Coco. Master King explains the situation to the Duke Geniuses, and tells them that the only way to wake up is to go inside his mind and help him regain his memories. The second he says that, though, Eggman instantly suggested it be him.
Nuh-uh, Eggy. You're going to your worst enemy's mind is the worst idea you had yet.
Look, Tails, I'm his greatest enemy. I know more about him than anyone does. Tails scoffs, as even the young fox knows he's right.
Okay. Well, you better not have any schemes up your sleeve, because we'll stop you if you do.
So, with that, Eggman prepares to go into Sonic's mind, with Master King using some sort of cyber energy to transport him into the mind of the fastest thing alive. Eggman wakes up in a strange white void, barren, except a small road that leads outwards to some sort of cliffside. He walks past the shed that reminds him of his intellectual rival, and sees the silhouette of someone sitting on the cliff's edge. He sees Sonic looking out into the distance, blank expression on his face. He can't remember a thing, so he gave up. The doctor stands behind the hedgehog, also looking out into the watery distance below. What do you want, Eggface? There's nothing here but me. Do you remember anything about what happened? Nope, absolutely nothing. All I remember is racing through the forest with my 2 best friends in the whole world. Now I'm here with you of all people. Okay, first, ouch. Second, fair enough. So why are you even here? We got transported to these islands, corrupted with the history of a long-forgotten race. Oh my gosh, that's right, the race! Where are the others? Where's Jet? You beat him within an inch of his life. What? This being, roughly the size of a small moon named the End, must have been using you as its puppet to break through the walls between dimensions, to enact its plan to end everything. Oh god. Sonic clenches his head as it starts to hurt. He's starting to remember everything now. No, I can't believe I let myself get corrupted by that monster. You couldn't fight back, not alone. All's left to do now is fight it, together. Eggman reaches out his hand and helps me. Thanks for helping me regain my memories, Egghead. I mean, nobody knows you more than your greatest enemy, right? They both share a laugh as a bright light shines and sends them back to the real world. Sonic and Eggman both wake up, back on the ground, and Tails watching over them. Good morning, you guys! You guys were out for a while. Sonic quickly runs over to Tails and gives him a big hug. Not too long after, the whole group is finally completed, as Master King teleports them off to the final island, Uranos, to finally end this once and for all. Sonic and the team make it to Uranos Island, Jet still unconscious, and a dark pressure looming over everyone on the island. Sonic, now out of the End's control, leads the pack to go find the emeralds for one last time. He suggests that Team Babylon stays behind to take care of Jet, while Team Sonic and Eggman find the emeralds. Once that's done, they'll regroup. So Sonic and his team goes off to find the emeralds. Sonic runs off by himself, with Amy chasing after him, Knuckles going off by himself, and Tails once again babysitting Eggman. Sonic manages to lose Amy. However, he gets himself lost since he wasn't paying attention to where he was going, though he does manage to run into the emerald cage. Unfortunately, it was guarded by some robots, to which he easily takes
Piece
care
of cake!
He destroys the last robot, and feels a weird energy around him. As he looks around, he finds a giant throne-like structure. It seems very familiar to him, but he doesn't know why. Sonic walks up to the structure to inspect it, but when somehow it lights up and flashes a bright light, sending him back into cyberspace. Tails manages to find some emeralds with Eggman, then goes to find more. However, Tails turns to ask Eggman if he wants to head back to take a break, but he's gone, disappeared into thin air. Scared, Tails runs off to look for him. Knuckles walks around the island, grabbing up as many emeralds as he can. He sees some Coco run around and play together. However, Knuckles accidentally trips on one and drops an emerald. As the emerald falls, it clonks the unsuspecting Coco on the head, activating the emerald's power and sending Knuckles to the flashback world once again. Knuckles sees a vision of the ancients building something. Not a structure, but a machine, towering over all the trees. He goes to investigate further, but as soon as he gets close to it, its eyes glow a dark purple as he fades back to the real world. Could this vision take place on the island? Knuckles thinks so, but before he can search for the location of the vision, he goes back to the rendezvous point for the group to bring them the emeralds. Did you get what I asked for? Almost. Do you have what we discussed ready? It will be ready once I get what I need. Sonic arrives back in cyberspace, thankfully not corrupted due to the emerald's protection. He runs around the familiar location, similarly to how he does in the main timeline. He notices, though, that he isn't escaping cyberspace, but going through different cyberspace stages. He knows that the only way to get out is to run through all the stages, so he does just that. He eventually manages to go through the final portal, escaping the digital dimension finally. However, he notices that he's trapped in a very weird orb-looking cage. He tries to teleport using Chaos Control to escape it, but it's of no use. The cage seems to be an in-between from the real world and cyberspace, effectively keeping him trapped until he's freed. Tails runs into Amy while trying to look for Eggman. He asks her if she's seen him anywhere, to which she doesn't. She then asks him if she's seen Sonic anywhere, to which Tails, of course, denies it. Tails asks Amy to go back to the camp as he goes to find Sonic. If anything were to happen, they're the last hope. He searches around, using one of the emeralds he has to look for Sonic's energy signature. As he figures out by now, he should have an emerald of his own at least. Though, as he searches, the emerald flashes brightly, scaring the poor fox. He realizes that this is a good thing, because that can only mean that an emerald was used nearby. So he heads in the direction of where the emerald signature was found. Back at camp, Knuckles and Amy arrive. Knuckles explains what he saw, to which Amy also explains what happened to Sonic and Tails. But it all strikes them. Where's Eggman? Regardless, they make sure to think of what their next plan is, when Jet starts to wake up. Tails makes it to where the energy flash is located. He's shocked to see Sonic trapped in a cyber cage. He explains what happened, and they discuss how to get him out. They decide to use the emeralds they found, as it should be enough to open the cage, as it's done so for all the emeralds when they were trapped in their cages. So Tails holds his emerald to the wall of the cage, as Sonic holds his emerald up to Tails' on the outside. With the legendary phrase, a bright flash of light lights up the sky, with even the group seeing it from afar.
Chaos Control!
With that, the cage opens and Sonic steps out, completely fine. Whoa! All that from 2 emeralds? The emerald's power is definitely stronger than we can imagine! So Sonic and Tails head back to camp, as they also keep on the lookout for any emeralds if the others haven't found them yet. The two eventually make it back to camp as they explain the situation. They all hand Sonic their emeralds as they figure they're the most safe with him. And he's the fact that he's the leader. Bad news though, they're one short. They all figure that it's weird due to them not seeing any more emeralds, and even Knuckles' emerald sense didn't pick anything up. It all then clicks. Eggman must have it. It's weird though, because obviously he's disappeared. However, Jeff finally wakes up, super confused at what just happened. They catch him up, and he suggests that him and Sonic search for him and the emerald. They're shocked, as he's barely able to get up, let alone run around on the island. But he reassures them that he's fine, he can manage. So Sonic helps Jet up, and they both run off to search for Eggman. As they search for Eggman, they stumble upon this small pond with trees all around it. There's this intense pressure they feel when they look around toward the pond, but they don't know why. They both walk towards the pond, as a field of energy blocks them from entering. Once they bump into the wall, they hear a sinister voice. You strayed from the path. Turn back. Complete your mission. Sonic and Jet are definitely sure that this could be the end talking to them, but they don't let this stop them, because they go back to look for Eggman somewhere else. Meanwhile, Tails looks around the big pyramid structure they set camp under. He looks around and he sees a door with a console of some sort that seems to be activated by some sort of energy. He assumes it's gotta be the emerald, so he takes it out and puts it next to the console, which then promptly opens the door. As the door opens though, he sees a twisting path in a corkscrew shape, heading to the final emerald. Hey, the final emerald! How did it get in there? He runs down to the end of the path and heads up to the emerald. As he's about to grab the emerald though, the emerald cage retracts into the ground and a purple light overtakes him. That's when the whole pyramid starts glowing. The group sees in awe as the pyramid glows, and the tip of it shoots a giant laser into the sky, making a giant rift. Something did it. Something finally broke the wall between dimensions. Sonic and Jet make it back to camp. Nothing to report except the whole pond thing. However, they see the giant rift and ask what that was about. After they get debriefed, Tails comes out of the building yelling to everyone about what just happened and what he saw. Then, they watch in horror as purple energy leaks out of the rift and something comes out of the pond nearby. Since time immortal, I have languished here. The locks are broken. I shall now tear down the walls between dimensions and consume all. Knuckles then remembers that this was the thing he saw in his vision. Everyone scrambles on what to do as the massive titan shows itself to everyone, with a familiar face controlling it in his vehicle. Eggman! I should have known you were behind all this! Oh, my spiky, pitiful enemy. This was a group effort. Ever since I saw the potential of what cyber energy could do for me, the potential to rewrite my past mistakes by giving me the ultimate energy, I knew that the end would be the perfect end for you. Poetry, isn't it? So, after all that you said the other day, was it all fake then? You should have known I was going to lie to you. It's me after all. Like I said before, Egghead, we will stop you. Well, you can try, but you're no match for the power of the Supreme Titan. Eggman then pulls out the giant blaster the Titan is holding and fires a massive blast at them, sending them all flying in several directions. Sonic and Jet manage to dodge said attack, thankfully, and then square up to fight Eggman and his new Supreme Titan. The group, unharmed from the attack, then race back to Sonic and Jet and throw them the emeralds. They collect them and prepare to grab the last emerald stored on the Titan's head. Jet distracts Supreme as Sonic finds an opening to jump to the top of the robot, managing to break the cage with brute force and grab the emerald. No! What are you doing? No matter, I have a backup plan. He motions for his celestial partner to do something as it sends a giant cord to attach to the battery of the Titan, now supercharging it with the end cyber energy. They both get swatted away, but manage to use the emeralds before they can get too far away from the robot. The emeralds both swarm around the two of them as they turn into their true super forms, Super Sonic and Super Jet. Alright, Egghead, time to crack you wide open! They both charge at him, chasing him as he flies around the island. They hit Supreme with light speed punches, kicks, and combos too fast for anyone to keep up with. Eggman then tries to shoot a massive blast at the two of them, but they're too fast for him now. Too bad, Egghead, because you're too slow! The two supers then charge at Supreme, flying right through it and destroying it. Eggman then goes flying off into space as they fly back to the ground. However, the celebration that's about to endure is all too premature as the end comes into view. This dimension was once my prison. It shall now be the avatar of my return. All shall perish. All shall return to order, to oblivion. With this, Sonic and Jet blast off into space to prepare for the real final battle. A battle thousands of years in the making. The two speedsters make it to the outside of the atmosphere, as the end rears its ugly face at our heroes. With no time to joke around, they fly as fast as they can towards the evil moon. As the planetoid defends itself with its own set of lasers and attacks, it remarks something unsettling. Mortals, you have served your purpose. Now face your end. I am the all-consuming void. What can one mote of golden light illuminate within the abyss? Countless stars, countless worlds, countless lives, all fell to me. All brought to nothing. All the teeming chaos of creation brought to order, to neutrality, to nothing. I saw your minds as you ran through my prison. You two have fought machines and gods. Were they mighty? They were finite. I am infinite. I am nothing. You struggle, as so many have done before. You will be consumed like all those before you. I saw your mind. Your courage never wavered. Why? Arrogance? Ignorance? Stupidity? I was contained once. Once. Is that why? My captors bent time and space. My captors built a whole new reality to contain me. My captors burned their souls away to fuel their engines. And you glitter. You fly around me like a gnat. I am inevitable. I cannot be denied. You strike this incarnation with all your might. It changes nothing. You are not brave. You are not victorious. No matter what form I take, the end comes for you all. Though, the yapping had to end eventually, so Sonic and Jet do one last final push and fly right through the moon, destroying it once and for all.
Take this!
The two of them high-five each other as they're about to head back. However, it's really tricky to end infinity now, is it? A massive blast of cyber energy then covers the entire planet in its light. Sonic and Jet, now baffled at what happened. No way. Eggman?
I am no longer the threats you once knew. I am something new, something different. I am no longer infinite, nor finite. I am rebirth, a rebirth of a new universe, where I rule supreme, and where there are no disgusting mortals like yourself. I am the rebirth.
This isn't just a fusion of the End and Eggman, no. This is a new being entirely. The two heroes cannot believe their eyes, as this thing may be impossible to stop. It has already started to consume everything in the universe, even flooding into other dimensions and futures. Sonic isn't going to let it all win. My friends, no, family, have always and will always continue to thrive. No matter the planet, dimension, or future, we will destroy it. We'll finally bring peace to the universe. So with that, Sonic charges up and with a massive blast of energy taps into his full potential, Cybersonic. Jet tries to do the same, but with no avail. It seems that the energy given to him by the End has seeped into his very soul, unlocking a hidden potential he had deep down. But this doesn't mean that Jet doesn't get more powerful though. Far from it. He manages to tap into a new power beyond the Super Wall, Super Jet 2. Now the end really is near. Jet and Sonic both fly as fast as they can to this godlike being, reaching thousands of times faster than light speed, as all of Rebirth's attacks do virtually nothing. However, Jet's power, unlike Sonic's, is finite, and it starts to fade out. Jet then gives Sonic the last bit of his power, now floating out in space. Sonic thanks Jet and goes to deliver the final blow of Rebirth, finally ending the new threat to all reality and finally avenging and freeing the Ancients once and for all. Sonic flies over to Jet's unconscious body as he takes him back to Earth. Sonic lands back on Earth and gives Jet to the other rogues. They finally have time to rest, as their journey has finally come to an end. Both groups using the help of Tails and Wave to remake everyone, but Wave of course, lost boards. And they all depart to race back home. They do have a race after all to get to. But before they do, they see another rift open in the sky above them, preparing for a fight. They're shocked at what they see. A girl with white and blue hair appears above them, floating to the ground. Do not be afraid, dear friends. I'm not a threat, but a new being created from my father, who has now given me the throne to his empire. My name is Sage. The group watches in awe, as this must have been the remnant of what Eggman and the End's power. now purified due to the Chaos Emeralds and power of all life in the universe. Sage makes it known that all she wishes is to join Sonic and his friends on Earth, to see the true beauty of what the universe has to offer, and they gladly accept. So now, they all fly off to finally go race, and show Sage what the universe has in store for her. The track lights up. Massive crowd of people from all over the globe come to see the race, and sit down to get ready for this epic race. They all line up at the starting line, with Sage and Omochao announcing to the crowd how exciting this race is, as Jet and Sonic line up next to each other. Shadow comes in between them. Hey Shadow, late to the party, huh? I was busy, let's say, but that doesn't matter, as I'll show you two what true ultimate power is. So, as the starting lights count down to 1, the racers all speed off into the sunset, and speeding off to new adventures. And that was it for What If Sonic Raced in Cyberspace. With this series being a whole year and a half in the making, I really hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all so very much for the support for this series and the videos that came out during the series production. It really means a lot, and I really hope that you're all excited for what's to come in the future. But enough chatting for now. I hope you all had as much of a wonderful time watching as I did making this. Make sure to hit like and subscribe, as I want to hit 1K by the end of the year, or hopefully by this summer. Anyway, I hope you all have a great rest of whatever time it is for you, and once again, for the final time in this series, peace out, guys.